But let's start with the pump piece and then we can move from there.
Right. So with everything in life, it's good to define your terms. Otherwise, you don't know what you're talking about. So when I say the heart is not a pump, what do I mean by a pump? I mean a pressure propulsion device. What does that mean? It means that the reason the blood moves around the body is it's propelled by the heart. And the way it's propelled is the ventricle, especially the left ventricle, contracts. It's a muscle. It contracts. That increases the pressure and propels the liquid, i.e., the blood, around the body. That's what we're told. Again, so that's the claim. Now, I looked at this claim, 40 some years ago and said, okay, how long are the tubes in the body? 10,000 miles or so. So you got a 1 pound organ with walls like this thick, and you got sticky fluid in there in those tubes that are 10,000 miles long, if you put them end to end, with stuff in the tubes that's approximately the internal diameter of the tube. In other words, the red blood cells are about the same size as the diameter of the tube. What are the chances you can get a 1 pound organ to push sticky fluid 10,000 miles?
Not good.
Not good. And not only that, but this fluid, if you go do a velocity chart at different points, it's going fastest, the blood, as it enters the heart, and it's going the same speed as it exits the heart, and then it slows down, and then it gets to the capillaries, the little vessels, and then it does like a little shimmy and stops, and then it gets going again. Now, if you're a farmer and you have like a tank, and then you go down to a pond, and then the water in the pond is stopped, and then you want to get the water from the pond up back to the tank, where do you put the pump?
Down at the bottom.
Not at the tank, right?
Yeah, you got to get it down at the bottom and pump back up to the tank.
Pump it back up. But that's exactly the opposite. Here they're saying the pump is at the top. And by the way, the pump doesn't make the water go any faster. And I thought, oh, that's friggin' weird, because you would think it would go slow in and faster out, and then it would go down, and it would stop. And how are you going to get it back up? Because I can tell you, if I want to go from San Francisco to New York on a bus, and the bus is going to stop in St. Louis, and there's no engine in the bus, I'm not getting in the bus. Because I don't know how, if it stops in St. Louis, it's going to get back going again to get to New York. So that was the second reason I thought, this is wonky. The third reason is, if you look at the outflow of the left ventricle, and I saw this when I was working in a cath lab, it's an arch, like McDonald's arch, right? Now imagine you have a garden hose, and you put a flexible hose, a spigot at your house, right? Put a flexible garden hose off the spigot, and it's shaped like an arch. And you turn it off, shaped like an arch, and you turn it on full blast, because you got to pump a long way. So that's going to really push the blood. And the garden hose like this, and it can bend. What's going to happen to the garden hose?
It's going to straighten out.
It's going to straighten out, right? Has to. So you know what happens to the aortic arch as you go into systole, which is the pumping part? It bends in. And I remember I saw this, and I asked the cardiologist, I said, look, it bends in. It can't possibly bend in if it's pushing through there, right? Can't
No,
possibly do that.
that's the opposite. Yeah.
Yeah. So I said, how come it does that? He said, that's the way it does. And I said, I know that's the way it does because I can see it. He said, that's just the way it does. So that told me there's no way that's pushing through there. No way. So that led me again. So my rule is don't worry about what is true, just think about what isn't true. I didn't kill that guy. I don't know who did. Don't ask me who killed him. That's not my job. I just know that I didn't do it. So I know at that point, there's no way this is a pressure propulsion device. And I know that the pump has to be in your leg. Has to be. Just like if you got a pond, it has to be at the pond. But I didn't know what the pump was. Then I saw an experiment Gerald Pollack did. Same one. You get a beaker of water with a horizontal tube, and just the nature of tubes interacting with water, capillaries interacting with blood, forms a gel layer, which is negatively charged, that pushes the positive charges into the liquid water, the blood, and they repel and start moving. So that happens in your leg, in your spleen, in your eyes, everywhere. And then as it coalesces from capillaries to venules to veins, just like a river, if it goes from a wetland to a single river, it goes faster and faster, right?
Yeah.
Just compression. It's called Bernoulli's principle. So that gets it go faster and faster. It gets to the heart. The heart functions like a hydraulic ram. So there's it goes into a tank. The walls of the tank expand, right? Into a tank, the walls expand. You with me?
Yeah.
That creates positive pressure in the tank and negative pressure on the other side of the gate. So then when the positive pressure differential is enough, the gate opens, the arch sucks in because of the negative pressure, and the blood falls down to the capillaries. Then it gets re-energized and comes back up. So the function of the heart is to stop the blood and creates this spiral. And, the Sufis say when the blood is stopped in the heart and there's a spiral formed, that's when God enters into the human being. Now, I don't know if that's true, but that's when the creative force of life, it always works through spirals, and the heart goes spiral down, spiral up, spiral down, spiral up. And when it spirals up, it's like plunging your toilet. That helps to suck the blood up to the heart. And you can prove that. And so that's what the heart is doing. It's acting like a suction device to stop the blood, create this vortex so that, God or the electromagnetic field or the energy of the universe or creation enters into you, creating this toroidal field that allows you to live as a full human being. And if you miss the picture and think the heart is a pump, you're a doofus. That's a scientific term for you've missed the point.
And this connects to what we were talking about before when we were talking about plaque, where this layer in the vessels is what we were talking about got disrupted before when plaque formed. So just to form the full circle here.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And they both come from the same causes, which is pure food, pure water, sunlight, earth, being part of an electromagnetic field that's nourishing, including relations and thoughts and traumas and, sucking on metals and vaccines, poison in you and pharmaceuticals and all the rest of it.
If you enjoyed that clip, you're going to want to head over here and catch a full episode. I'll see you over there.
Nobody has liver attacks, kidney attacks. They have heart attacks and brain attacks called strokes. No other organ has attacks, even though the blood is the same and the arteries are the same, which led me to think it's got to do with